Okay, you're all set.
Should bring the meeting to order again.
Okay, great. Is, Brooke, what was for some reason, it's not letting me
Gina,
bring up Charlie.
you should bring the meeting to order again because it wasn't being recorded.
Oh, okay.
And you got to get a vote, second it, whatever.
Okay, not to call the meeting to order.
No, I mean,
Okay, call the meeting to order, Brooke, at 7:06.
Okay,
Okay, what's first on the agenda?
well, you got to do approval of minutes.
Okay,
And then
approval.
then we can jump to the public forum if you'd like.
Yep, okay, approval of the minutes from March 8th. Motion
I
to,
motion, yeah, I motion to accept the minutes
I
Okay.
second it.
from,
second. Okay, discussion. Okay, I just have one thing. And Brooke, you put it in the minutes right, what I said, but what I said wasn't right. So you recorded it right. The last section where it says, I mentioned the Deckett Titicate. It
Oh.
really should have been Tuckerwood, but I'm not sure if we can like change the minutes because I actually did say Titicate, but I meant Tuckerwood.
Can I make a suggestion?
What?
Record it the way it was and have her put in parentheses meant Tuckerwood.
Okay, that's good. Good suggestion, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay.
One time you came up with a good one.
I'll
and
second that.
Okay, it wasn't until like a week after the meeting that somebody mentioned Tuckerwood, and I'm like, oh my God, I meant to say Tuckerwood, but okay. Roll call to accept the minutes, Brooke?
Mr. Origi,
yes,
Mr. Campbell,
Yes,
Ms. Gosconi,
Yes,
and that's a wrap.
okay. The chair, next is the announcements from the chair, but the chair's not here. So I have no announcements either. Charlie,
Well, I think while you have people on, if they're here for the public forum and you want,
okay,
they'd
that's,
like to speak, you can take it out of order.
okay, can we just have a motion to take out of order?
I make the motion.
motion,
Okay,
Second.
second. Okay, roll call, Brooke?
Mr. Origi,
yes,
Mr. Campbell,
Yes,
Ms. Gosconi,
Yes,
okay. Unanimous.
great, thank you. Becky and Lorraine, do you two ladies want to say something and speak?
Sure. The only reason that I'm here, Gina, you probably know that after the whole kerfluffle that happened at Legion Field and all of the stuff that's gone back and forth about who was supposed to be asked what, when, and where, I had spoken at the town council meeting and said that I had found in the administrative code, it talks about the police chief being contacted. On the recreation page, it talks about the rec commission being contacted, a permit is needed, a fee may be charged. So I had addressed the town council and said, it's a little confusing to the public about what the process is. So I saw that you had on your agenda that you're going to address public use. I'm not planning to speak to it or to create a kerfluffle.
Oh, okay, you just wanted to hear the
I just
discussion.
wanted to hear what y'all had to say.
Gotcha, okay. Lorraine, the same? Okay, great. Okay, do we want to jump right to, let me look at the,
well, you want to address that?
well,
What was that? How do you want to handle that? Do you want to have, we haven't really discussed it. We haven't really had a lot of talk about it either, but to be honest with you, we're like, it was a short notice kind of a decision
Well, that
And
would be
I
under
don't
new
think-
business.
All right,
So you have your choice. You can go right to new business out of order, which you've already voted to do. And just get in and whoever can bring up whatever they want to talk about, Gina or whomever, if that's
Mhm.
what you want to do.
Okay, why don't, will we have a couple of guests on for that? I know we're going to have, Marilee's going to come on too for something completely different, so we can go back to comments.
Okay.
But my is for that, for lack of a better word, debacle for that Saturday. I think I drove Charlie crazy because I was like texting him every 2 minutes, asking questions about it. I ended up speaking with Chief Del Monte myself on it the day before because I was concerned about it for a number of reasons. One, where was this whole permitting process? Where did it come from? As Charlie had told me, you can't deny, and he knew about it when I first heard about it. He had already known about it. He had been in touch with, I guess the police had spoken to him. And Charlie, you can jump in if I'm like saying something not completely to it. But Charlie was in the loop with the police. Like I said, I was torturing Charlie for lack of a better word too, that like every 5 minutes. And he was great. He was answering every text very, very nicely. I was following on
You never
Facebook
had-
too, and I understand that Facebook, you can't go by what people are saying, but I was following where it's moved. I had people writing to me concerned that it was being moved to Legion Field. As Charlie had said, he was told that you can't deny public land for a protest. And I had no problem with that. My problem was I was seeing it as a rally. I was seeing it as a fest. I looked up because to make sure I was clear the difference between a protest and a rally. One's a subset of the other, but I don't remember which one's the subset of the other one. But what concerned me more was they were talking about food and vendors and all those things. And to me, that makes it not a protest. It makes it a little fest, you know, they were advertising it, come and enjoy the music and listen. I was concerned about the no permitting. The whole thing, the town manager, and I guess he was away, so the assistant town manager was doing a lot of it. I spoke to Chief Del Monte, and he had said it got moved for public safety reasons. Then, so we talked about that and how the whole thing of getting it moved. But I thought it was odd that the chief said to me, if recreation had a permitting process in place, it might have been a little different. Now, I talked to the chief on Friday, the thing was on Saturday. And I said, we do have a permitting process. It's on the town website, we have it. And he said they were under the assumption it wasn't. So I asked Charlie and he said, no, he never said that it wasn't. That he was told that the permitting for something like that goes through the town manager's office for a protest.
Okay, hold it right there and let me interject.
Okay, that's why I said
Okay.
jump in if I'm saying something not completely right.
No, you're not, but I just thought that this would be a good time for me to jump in.
Okay,
As far as permitting, what I actually permit and what I have for the last 27 years is for the use of fields, meaning individual fields that are on that use of facilities request. The two Little League fields, which are Hayes and Lazaro, the football field, Scotland Field, the Big Diamond, anything pertaining to teams such as either the school or Little League or youth football or girls softball and the men's softball. Now, anytime there's a major function in town, such as the 4th of July, which is down at Legion Field for the fireworks, I've never in all my years, they've never come to me and said, you know, do we need a permit? That's, anything like that has always been handled by the town manager's office. Now, they discuss with me about what goes on down there, but it's never been a permit from us in all my years. Now,
Now,
I'm not saying that
Go ahead.
it should have been. I'm just saying it's always been from the town manager. These people go to town manager, go to their office and request either a permit or vendor's licenses because they're selling food down there. We've never received a fee from any of the vendors or anything like that. It goes to the 4th of July committee. So they don't pay us a fee for the day or anything like that. In all my years, there might have been one donation once for short money. That was a long time ago. But everything from major function like that comes from the town manager's office and the Board of Health because they got to permit all that. So let me go a step further. As far as when Carl McDermott was the first policeman to call me, he said, this is what's going on uptown. I hadn't even heard about it. I don't go on Facebook. I don't go on the town goings on other than if people call me or whatever. So I said, okay. He says, we have a big problem. We think there might be some safety issues. We really have to move it to Legion Field. Now, I'm not shifting the blame or I'm not saying anything because I had several conversations between Carl McDermott, Officer Bailey, and the chief. So when I talked to them about that, there's really no permit process that comes through us for that. That's a function that the police come to me and say, we have an issue. It has to be down at Legion for safety reasons. So I said to him, all that stuff usually goes through the town manager's office. And he replied to me that, yes, those parties have been involved in talks with the town manager's office. So at that point, I'm not going to I don't even know who these people are. Don't have anyone really to give a permit to. Didn't think it was any necessary to go any further than what transpired. So
Okay,
go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, back when, to me, a permit to use the field isn't I mean, it can't, on the permit, it does list them. But to me, the field is a Legion field. It's not Hayes, Lazaro, this or that. We have had in the past, and I don't know how many, I mean, not in the recent years, but it seems to me, I can remember, like, I don't know, there was a church group or a family group wanted to have something on Legion Field, not specifically a sports field, but as part of the Legion Field complex, they filled out a permit and we had a whole fee schedule. Like back when.
Yeah, they used the football field to have a movie and they had some stuff set up, but it was no specific field. So yeah, you're correct in that.
So that should still be a permitted.
Yeah, but in this particular instance, you were talking about a protest or a
Right,
rally,
that's-
whatever wordage you want to use. And they told me that they can't stop this from happening. It's just like a mother and father and 2 or 3 kids coming down to kick the ball around, hit the ball around, kick, baseballs, soccer,
Mhm.
whatever they wanted to do. You can't
Mhm.
say they can't do it. That's how
Right.
it was
Hey,
explained to me.
Hey,
Yep.
hey, Charlie, can I just jump in for a sec?
Yeah,
Just
yep.
a couple of things, just to make sure that it's out there. We never had a meeting on this. And this came in very short notice. And I agree that the 4th of July, no, because it's a town event. But when we start talking about a rally, which does not include all townspeople or the town of Bridgewater, then I think they should have had a permit to use that field. And and I'll tell you what's really what we're very lucky that the Little League wasn't playing because at that time, because they have permits to use the field. So that protest
It
does
wouldn't
not
have happened.
supersede the Little League.
It wouldn't have happened, Tom.
Okay,
They knew that, and that was part of the discussion.
Right, I can understand it being moved for public safety. And it was kind of moved at the last minute, which was fine. I understand that. To separate the two different factions of protesters. My thing is, I said, they were saying it was a fest. And as I had said to the chief, I said, if we couldn't deny a protest, what difference would an application for field use
no,
make?
no,
Because
I disagree. I disagree. I think you could get a application on that because it's a private group wanting to use the field.
right,
The
but
4th
Tom,
of
what I was
July
getting
is
at,
a whole group.
Right.
I think that's something we need to set up, have a meeting on and really go over some new standards on that.
mhm.
Because
And-
I think you definitely can, I disagree with you that a
Well,
protest
I
on
understand
a
what you're saying,
recreational
but,
field should not be able to be done.
right, but where it was moved for public safety, and yes, public safety can be a last minute thing. My point was to Chris, what difference
Move
would
it
it
to the
have made
college.
if we had the application process that, like he was saying, if we had it, and I said, even if he had known that, what difference would it make if we couldn't deny a protest because of freedom of speech? And he said
I
that
don't know.
lots of times if somebody they know they have to fill in an application, they're more honest with what they're saying. They're not calling it a rally or something when they actually get down and say they're having food and they're having this and they're having that. So even though, yes, you cannot, because of the freedom of speech, you can't deny a protest. We would have known.
But-
Was it a protest? Was it a festival? Exactly what was it? I
Exactly. And those vendors should have paid to be there.
There was only one. And he was part of
When
their
the other
group.
guys selling Trump, they were selling the Trump stuff and they were selling, I know,
T-shirt.
but still,
Yeah, he was
Right, I
part of
think it
their
was all
group.
that one vendor for what, I wasn't there, but from what I gathered. But I wasn't aware until I listened to the council meeting and heard Becky say that there's a whole different permitting thing for the town manager's office, that it's listed like in two places. So we need to clarify that too.
Also, Ms. Guasconi, I don't know if you
Yes.
can tell, but Mr. Campbell has his hand up.
I'm sorry, Jim, I didn't see that.
That's okay. Every rally I ever seen, they have permits, they have marching permits where they go and everything. I can see why they have to move something from emergency. They evidently gave them permission, I would imagine, like to use the common. But if you start blocking streets off and they couldn't get through town or something, I mean, that's why I thought they have permits, but I think it's more of a planning thing. If they said they were gonna use the common, there's too many people and they have to move them, then the people that are responsible should have a contingency plan of what happens next. So they call Charlie, find out if Little League is there, is it all right if they go to field? That should be all planned out before this thing even. Because like you say, if they can't stop it, then I can't even get on the track to walk around. I'm sure they could stop them from using the track at the college, right? So
Mhm.
there is rules, and recreation is responsible for recreation land, so I
Right.
wouldn't stop them, but I mean, people can't go down there and throw a band concert at the gazebo. I think we got a permit. Well, we asked from the Lions. We ran a kite festival. I think a lot of people asked for.
Mhm. No, I
permission in the
agree. I
fields.
think there should be permits for
So-
everything there.
Yeah, well, like I say, I can see the police, they have to move them, and it's for a safety issue, and
Mhm.
like you said, if we had 3 games going down there and the basketball field being used, I don't think they'd move them there, they'd have to move them somewhere else.
Mhm.
No, Gina?
Charlie,
Yeah, I agree with exactly what you're saying. And I suppose, I mean, I give police, they came and asked me,
Yeah.
they did their courtesy, they came down to Legion, talked to me about what was going on. I said, no Little League yet, doesn't start for a couple more weeks. And they expressed the sincere, as you could tell by the number of police they had undercover on bikes. They were filming the whole thing from the school. They were very concerned, not so much about the group that was down there, but the group that would move down from the common. There were 3 different groups from what I was told. So they, they did their due diligence in contacting me. I just simply said to myself, there's no permit to be given when everything is coming from the town manager's office. To me, it was already a done deal. I didn't even think twice of saying, oh yeah, can you
Sure.
fill out this form? 3 different groups. They didn't even know who was going there. And Kyle, informed me that they were all in talks with the town managers. In fact, when I met with the chief later in the, a day and a half later, 2 days, and even that morning, he said, we still don't know how many people. We're trying to avoid any altercation. So I give the police credit for contacting me.
Mhm.
Maybe, what was I going to do from that point?
Yep,
Fill
you're
out
right.
a form? I mean,
No,
but I
no,
think
no, I
there should be better communication between
Yeah.
an event that happens like that in the town manager's office. But there was no
Mhm.
contact from me to them or them to me, other than me dealing with the police.
Yep, Jimmy?
Yeah, well, you just have better control down Legion Field. It makes all the sense in the world if there's no one around. There's
Yeah.
no windows to break. I mean, the way rallies goes these days, sometimes it's a
Yeah.
good place to have it. I'm just saying, if they think
And-
this group could get bigger, it's better from the plan where they would move it to.
Mhm.
Well,
And-
we actually had discussions about that because in my dealings that morning, I was there until about 10:30, and the people were very appreciative of where I asked them to set up their stuff and not to use other fields. And they,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they had picked up the whole thing. But the chief and I had discussions about the 4th of July. I mean, if this
Yeah.
stuff is still going on come the 4th of July, is it prudent to have the 4th of July down there? If you're worried about protesting groups and all this, when you get 10 to 15,000 people down there, it could be serious issues. But that's
Yep.
not for me to decide, but we had that conversation.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm going forward, that's all I'm saying is, if you weren't around, it would have been a lot different day that day. It'd be
I'm quite
better
sure
if
it
it was all a contingency plan. If this happens, we're gonna do this and, okay, and, luckily you were around and it worked out extremely well considering.
Yeah, and again, Charlie, it's like we discussed at the last meeting. I mean, I was aware of it because I was like being a hound to you constantly. But I think just a quick little, a quick email, I did send out, I talked to you and I did send out to the others just to let them know what was happening. But, if I wasn't involved, just a quick little blurb, hey, this is happening, doesn't have to be fancy. Just to let us
I
know in
had no
case
idea.
we're questioned. Tom?
No, I'm just saying, I had no idea it was even happening either until that day. We got down there and said, what the heck is this?
Yeah, well, I sent you was it a text or an email a couple of days before or the day before? I think it was the day before. Just to fill you guys in. But
Well, you know what? I just think we should set up some new procedures in case this, I hope this is a one-time deal. But if it isn't, then I'd really like to see us have some procedures in place that, hey, this is what has to happen, and this is what the fee is. If you want to use the field and have somebody there selling food, he's got to have a permit. And the Board of Health is going to give the permit, don't they, Charlie?
they weren't
Yeah,
selling food.
Yep.
no, there was no
And
food.
No, because they would have had to have permits for that, with the Board of Health. But one of my other concerns was, does this set precedent? That any group that wants to go down and have a protest I'm not the peace sign. I actually have two hands up for a quote, but I can't do that. I get confused in the thing. But, they want to have a quote protest. Does that set precedent said anybody can go down there? And I understand this one was moved for public safety, but was a precedent set. And
No, I don't think so. I bet you can get town council. It didn't set a precedent because it was short notice. Now we have to set some new rules. And maybe that's
Mhm.
something we're gonna start looking into, just how we're gonna do it. And really, I think it just enforce the ones we already have. Just say, hey, you
Right.
gotta fill out a permit if you want to use the field. The
Mhm.
only ones who's exempt is the 4th of July, because that's a town-run event.
And I think that should have a permit too, even though it's, it's gonna be approved, it's a town thing. CPC, if the town puts something in for our
Okay.
attention, they put it in writing. Why can't they, the 4th of
I
July
agree.
committee and I want to look into too, where Becky has pointed out that there's two different permitting things out there, the town manager and recreation. And if they're opposing each other, and they're not the same thing, we need to look into that, which is kind of a segue into, I wanted the administrative code put on agenda tonight. We'll talk more on that when we get to it. But
One-
it's Parks and Recreation advises the town manager through the superintendent. It's not the town manager tells Park and Rec what to do. The town's administrative code said Park and Rec advises the town manager.
And then he tells you what to do.
Right, but
It's changed. It made us an
right, but
advisory.
Jimmy, they need to go by the code.
Remember, people came in front of us, they wanted to run exercise camps in the morning. They want to run GI camps and everything. They ask for permission. Anyone who wants to use the field should get a permit. And as far as the food, Ron Emma had to come and get permission to park his hot dog truck in our parking lot. And we
Right.
had a thing over that when we first started, 35 years
All
ago.
the organizations do, Little League, football,
Yeah.
girls softball, they have the Board of Health come down, do their snack bar, check it, and they get a permit to be
Mhm.
open during the season.
But I'm just saying, I can't pull in there tomorrow and open up an ice cream truck.
No,
Right,
That's all I'm saying. It's just, you're all in place. It's just, I'm afraid, like to say, if they think it's gonna happen, it'd be nice if you knew ahead of time. We're taking the pressure off Charlie. We would know what was happening. We would
Mhm.
know who was playing there and all that stuff. And then, he could just said that people are gonna be at the field that day or whatever. So I think we're all set. I think
Mhm.
everything's in place. It just has to be utilized.
Right, and we need to check the two different permitting places. Becky, you said they were in the administrative code section?
Thank you for letting me speak. I know it's not usually done this way. It's
Yep,
usually
no,
no
that's
comments
fine.
and you're done. So
Yeah.
thank you. Yes, I can. I wrote down who's here. I don't know that I have emails for everybody, but I guess I can send to you, Brooke, and then you can forward to others. I think it might have been chapter 157, but I do have it in my notes somewhere that the town code talks about that. So I'm happy to send that along. I also did want to reassure all of you that I am in no way ever thought, said, inferenced, implied that y'all did anything wrong. I
All
was
right.
just confused about the two different things that I saw. I also am aware that this all happened at the last minute. I don't think that group did apply ahead of time because their goal was they were coming to the common initially. I know a lot of this happened and people that were, I'm part of Bridgewater Community, Laureen and I are part of Bridgewater Communities for Civil Rights. I know the now defunct Stand Up for Justice had planned to come, and then this group. And so and I'm not on Facebook either. I only know because of my connections with some of these people. And the other question that I had asked was, well, who's responsible? Because we're out on the common a lot, and we often we let the chief of police know that we're going to be there in case there's the potential with anybody counter protesting us. But then I thought, you know what, maybe we're supposed to be getting permits for being out on the common, and we should know that. Someone told me that there is no permit. You have to allow people on the common. I don't know that that's true. That's what somebody said to me. So it is very confusing. The group was then told, somebody from the police chief asked to meet with somebody from BCCR, somebody from Stand Up, and then I think it was the Muse woman, Samantha Muse from the Freedom Group. And what we were told was at that time, the police asked Freedom Group if they would defer their standout for 2 weeks, and they refused. And then he said to them, will you then move to Legion Field? They were very cooperative about doing that. So y'all didn't have much of a warning. I don't know what anybody would do when this happens, when a group decides they're coming and they're not following the proper process. My only question was, well, what is the proper process? There seems to be some confusion, at least in terms of what the townspeople can see when we're looking things up.
Right, okay, good, thank you.
I think what you could do is send an email to the town manager requesting a meeting.
I
That's all.
have, when I spoke, I followed up with emails with the town manager. What I've been told is that they're looking into it. So I don't have any more influence with them than
Yeah.
that.
Well,
And
and
I-
I think that's what the rec commission can do, is simply send an email, say you'd like to have a meeting. Hopefully it won't be a Zoom meeting. And hopefully in a few weeks, we can get together and sit down and talk to Mike Dutton about it. And it would alleviate a lot of issues, I think.
Right, I think that's what I was gonna say, instead of just, the BCCR sending an email to Michael, I think Park and Rec needs to clarify what the things are. And like I said, it was our exception thing. It was at the spur of the moment. The chief did tell me he asked them to hold off on theirs, and they wouldn't. But I think we need to clarify what the process is too. And last minute things happen, public safety. I don't blame the police for moving them, just for the safety. And we saw what happened even with them moved.
Right,
Um,
right.
which
Gina,
was- Yep, Lorraine.
I just wanted to quickly, first of all, thank you all for explaining some of this to us, because, and also that we were not at Legion. We were never at Legion. We weren't part of that.
You weren't the one
um,
with the mask down? I'm just teasing. I'm teasing. I'm
Lorraine
teasing.
actually had the pig mask on. She just doesn't want you to know that.
Right. Yeah. No, not us.
No,
not us,
she
not us.
wouldn't do that.
No, but anyhow, thank you for explaining that. And like Becky said, it's just like a lot of things. Sometimes you don't realize that there is not a miscommunication, but a misinterpretation maybe of has what rights or controls or whatever until
Mhm.
something like this happens. So like you said, I think the best thing now is, I know Becky's already reached out to do, is we're just trying to clarify
Mhm.
for all of us, moving forward, and appreciate
Mhm.
your help with that.
Great, thank you. I have a question for you. Are you the
Sure.
Lorraine that was my brother's secretary?
I'm sorry?
Were you
No,
the Lorraine that was my brother's secretary?
No.
No, no, he had his secretary was Lorraine.
Oh, no, a
Right.
different one.
Okay,
I've lived in Bridgewater for many, many years, but I'm a nurse, so no.
okay, good. And thank you for being a nurse. Thank you for your service.
Oh, thanks.
Thank
you.
Okay, anything
Okay.
else we can?
No,
Not
thank you.
to
I
us.
think it's
I think we're good.
wonderful. Thank you that you plan to get in touch with the town manager
Mhm.
and meet. That's wonderful. That will help to clarify, and that
Yeah.
will have a lot more influence than I have.
Oh, I don't know how much influence it would have, but
If he
we'll
does-
try.
If he doesn't meet with us, why don't we protest on the common?
right?
Well, if you're doing it
Get
Legion,
them
you'll
to
need
go
a
here.
permit.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Charlie, where are you? You're like a
Outside.
silhouette, like a,
I'm walking
you
around
walking-
on my deck.
Vampire.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Okay,
We're gonna
Okay,
go.
thank you
We'll
Bye.
very
leave you
much.
now.
It's nice
Thank you
meeting
for
all
all
of
your
you.
help.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you so much.
And
Okay,
stick around
bye-bye.
for the pickleballs.
Yeah. Okay, what did I just lost us. Here we go. Okay, next on the agenda, thank you everybody for a good discussion for that. There's Charlie. I can see him now. Okay, next, let me jump to,
You've lost your quorum. Gina,
okay, who did we lose?
I've only
Tom.
got you and Jim. Tom's gone and Mike never came on.
Oh, you can still
Okay.
have a meeting. You don't have to vote. Can't vote.
Right.
Right,
You can still
Okay.
talk, go over everything.
is Tom coming back, I wonder?
I
Did
don't
he
know.
just get- Did he just get disconnected?
Maybe he had a call he had to take.
Jim,
Okay.
you want me to put your hand down?
Sure, they all do it.
Oh, okay. Whoops, I did it. I lost you. No, there you
Okay.
No, he's there.
go. Okay.
Okay, Charlie, golf course update?
Yeah, let me see. Let me see. We're in the process of fixing over the starter shack. We stripped the roof and the sides today. And it's gonna be all new vinyl siding, a new door, window, and that'll be all fixed up.
On what is
think-
that on?
That's on the first tee.
Oh, okay.
The building that's been there is in
Okay, I
pretty
didn't
bad
catch
shape.
what, okay, I didn't catch what you said it was. Okay,
Yeah, it's a starter shack. It's on the first tee where the starter is and everyone comes up and gives
Yep.
them their slips and he
Mhm.
explains everything. And it was in quite disrepair and we attacked it today and got it all ready for tomorrow and it should be done tomorrow, all fixed up. It's not a real big building, but it still costs a couple grand to do that all over between a door and a window and siding and roofing and plywood. So, but anyway, that'll be all fixed. This is going to be combined. I believe we have a date for, if weather permits, for the paving of both, at least 2 cart paths at the golf course and the pickleball courts in the same day. And that should be the 20th of April, depending on the weather. I met with the paving contractor that the town is in with on Surgis, which is the bidding group that the town gets their paving contractor through. We met up there last week and went over everything. And then we also were at the pickleball courts. So he's hopeful that it'll be a long day, but he's hopeful he's going to do the golf course first. Right now, we would do hole number 5 and 6, definitely. The issue on 1 is how we're going to get the trailer loads of asphalt in. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We'll deal with that. So, but I'm confident we'll get the 5th hole and the 6th hole done. And if we have to hold off on 1, we will. But and then proceed down to the pickleball courts noontime or so, or afternoon, and get that done. So that's exciting news for the pickleball courts, as well as the golf course. We've been waiting a couple of years for that, but he's confident he can make it happen. He checked the grade and he said, yeah, it looks more than 2%, but he went out and checked his level and everything. And he said, no, it's right on. So he might do a little fine grading, but I'm just excited to get that in. And and then I'll fine tune once that gets in. I'll fine tune my, I'll start getting the fence bids. I know I have one of them, but I will go out to 2 other people and get the fence bids, because once the asphalt's done, they can come in and do the fence. It doesn't have to be painted, it has to wait a month for it to be painted. But the fence can certainly get done. So I got to get that probably by the end of the week. Hopefully I'll get that out to a couple other people for bidding, and we'll go from there. So
Mhm.
they can't do it in the rain. So, hopefully maybe Wednesday would be a rain date. We're closed for aeration on Tuesday and part of Wednesday, but, as far as the pickleball courts, if he's coming to town and the weather looks iffy on Tuesday, maybe he'll have his stuff here and he can do the pickleball courts the next day first or whatever. But we'll, hopefully it won't be pouring rain and we can get it done.
Mhm.
So, other than that, it's been busy up there. We don't have the carts out yet, but they're soon to come out. We got new batteries for the older ones, and we'll probably give it another couple days, or maybe by the weekend we'll have the carts operational. What else?
So the pickleball courts are on schedule?
Oh yeah,
Good. Now I sent everything off to the town manager and the town to be put on the agenda. I talked to Matt Rushton and asked him if it was mentioned to me that there's a way that, how everything, money articles have to get referred to hey, Tom, have to get referred to, we missed you.
I know,
the-
my phone went dead. I have, losing you. I may still go dead. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We
Plug it
can
in
hear
the
you
charger.
fine. Yep. What I
Yeah,
was saying
Gina,
was that I had heard
because-
that somebody told me there's a way that where everything has to go to is it budget and finance or the finance or something, the subcommittees? But
Yeah,
there's
I was told that it's not an issue, that,
okay,
because
right.
we have funds there already, that we could proceed with the process.
Okay, no, what I was gonna say, as far as getting the rest of the funds freed up.
Yep.
To have it with the funds we know are there, they're in the CPC budget right now. That if it can bypass going to those subcommittees, but that's up to the council. And plus, if they do the first reading tomorrow, in 2 weeks, they should have it back from the subcommittee so they can do the final vote. So you should have a vote by the end of the month anyways.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. We're not, that's not gonna hold us up paving,
Right, good.
because we have money already, and they told me that that's not an issue. Once you people voted, it's kind of a done deal, but they do have to go through the process. You have to put the right account number, all that kind of stuff. So,
Right.
I will
Okay.
double check with them, but that's what I was told.
Okay, yeah, and they all seem to be for it, ones that I've heard from the council.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Okay, next, any department update or projects?
No, those are two big ones. So, we're getting the fields ready for opening day and that kind of stuff. I think the Spartans start their first game tomorrow. They play 2 in April, and then they don't play again at home till May. So, but the fields are ready. They're pretty close, and we're doing different things. So daily. So.
Okay, good. Okay, I keep jumping to the other screen. Okay, budget, anything new on the budget? Budgets were due to the town council this week?
Yeah, I
Last
went
week.
in and it's basically the same, other than, 2% increase, I think, but I do get my part-time help back. They have a park steward in there, which is basically probably gonna happen. I don't know when, but they're looking to do that. I think they put 17,000 in for a part-time position for a steward. So there's no other changes, no other money we got there. The
And Charlie,
capital plan,
will the steward report to you?
no, I believe that the steward is going to work with I think it's called community development.
Yeah.
I think Jen Burke.
Mhm.
Yeah, there'll be, I did see a job description for that position. And I believe, if they need our assistance, which they know they will. And that was discussed also. I had a Zoom meeting with Kim Williams about that, and this was on a different matter, but we got talking about that, and you know, they're getting pushed for this thing. They're getting pushed hard to do something with the parks. So how they go about it is up to them. We have really no say in it. It's not going to be, you know, other than that steward position. I think they put it in ours because that was the easiest place to put it, to be quite honest with you.
See, and again, it's this whole thing that if we're, and I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to give you extra work, Charlie, by no means. Then you
Oh,
wouldn't
we
have time
can't.
to, you wouldn't have time to answer my text messages constantly.
Well, not at
Um,
11 at night.
True. It's like
Ooh.
I'll do it in the morning. It, the whole thing, if we have parks and rec, but we have nothing to do with parks. So,
I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's a first step, and they had to find a place to put the steward. I'm not saying I
Okay.
don't think they'll directly come under us, but they're going to need our assistance. And
Mhm.
it's the first step right now, because I don't have any help, you know, other than one full-time, and I got my money for the part-time guy, but they understand that it's still in the works.
mhm.
So
But what
I
about,
just think
what
they
about
wanted to
the,
stick this.
what about like a budget for supplies? I walked Styles and Hart today, not the whole thing, but just from across from the cleaners out to High Street and back again. Once they get going, what about supplies to take care of the parks? Is that coming out of Park and
Yeah.
Rec? That we
Well,
don't have the money anyways?
Well, who knows? Who knows where it's gonna come? I don't think they know where it's gonna come from. That's my point. I think this
Right.
is just a position to get, I mean, they could turn around in, you know, middle of the year or in July and turn around after the budget's been approved and go to executive order and say, you know, to the town council, hey, we want 20 grand to use for this. And, you know, they probably get it put through. So they just don't, they're not at that step yet. So
Mhm.
they just put the position, because I think they are advertising for it, in under our budget. But there's
Okay,
no money for supplies or anything, and I think that's gonna come later.
right. Okay, Jim, were you starting to say something?
No,
Oh, okay.
I was just
Um,
messing with the filters.
I know, I'm looking to say, what the heck do you have in
I'm
front of
an
you?
auditorium. Those are all empty seats.
That's really cool. I like that.
Thank you.
Well, I'm looking and saying, what is that he has in front of him now?
That's why I'm
That's
in the
neat.
pink.
You were up on stage. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, can I ask you, Charlie, what
Yeah.
about the pickleball course? What's up with that?
You missed
All
it.
right, come to the meeting on time.
No,
Uh,
Yeah,
let's
when
just,
you were dead.
wait, can we just follow the agenda? Because
Oh.
I'm gonna get confused.
Real quick, Tom. April 20th, I believe it will be paid if the weather's good.
That's great news.
I met with the guy last week. He's gonna try to do 2 or 3 card passes at the golf course and do the pickleball courts in the same day.
That's great.
That's where it stands right now. It's just weather permitting.
All right. That's good. But at least, you know, that's some good positive news.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Gina, I hope that
Okay,
didn't
thank
confuse
you. Don't run away. Okay, use of facilities, we talked about public demonstrations. Charlie, you said the permits are in place and for Little League and girls softball. What about men's softball in the summer program?
Yeah, Brooke handles the permit for the school, but the permits for men's softball, I actually talked to the guy the other day because he wanted to fill out the permit. However, I went on the website while he was on there looking, and they must have done a whole new website because I found no area, Brooke, and I don't know while you're in the background, if you're not taking notes, if you want to go on the website and try to find out where you get a field use permit.
Oh,
But I didn't see
found
anything.
it. I've seen it on there.
You did? Okay, I talked to Brad and he was busy, and he said he'd get to me this week, and he double check it, but I couldn't find it.
Okay,
So-
I'm gonna look quick too as we're talking.
I mean, I have individual, I told him I would, email him one from my office, pull out an old one, but I don't know if that's what's on the website, but I couldn't find it either. So I don't know, maybe I'm mistaken. I couldn't find it, but I used to be able to find it real easy.
You know what? I think, I found it right here. So if you go to recreation, like you go.
Well,
to-
first of all, when you go on the town website,
Yep,
you go to government and find
Yep.
Park and Rec. Okay,
yep.
then what?
So when you go to that page and it brings you up, it says Park and Rec and it says Golf, Parks and Recreation. But on the left in gray, if you click recreation, there's a little arrow at the bottom of that. It has, wait a minute, that's not where I was a second ago. Yep, oh, it is. It says recreation, summer recreation program. Oh, nope, that's summer recreation application.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what I saw. I don't know. I'll play with it, Charlie, and see, because I could have, I know, because I saw the permit when I was, before this, okay, here it is, Recrested Field. So if you're, let me back up. So I'm just telling you the right screen here. Hold on. Okay, so I go to Parks and Recreation. I go to Parks and Recreation. Okay, then if I click Recreation. Okay, where did it go again? Hold on. I don't know. I just had it.
that's
I don't know.
okay.
I'll find it and send
I'll
it to
dig
you.
it up. I was on my phone looking at the website, so maybe I didn't open it up all the way, but I'll find it then. if that's
Okay,
what
yeah,
it's on
and
there.
I just saw it when I backed up to tell you what screen I was on it. I don't know what I did with it. Okay, how about
Okay.
the summer program? Is that running?
Yeah, I had an email from Nancy and I told her planning on it. So unless the governor or whatever, there's more restrictions, but I don't see a reason why we can't run it. That's my
Okay,
theory.
do they have to follow any special protocols, masks?
Well, he
some-
did say that summer camps could be open. That was about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Right, they can be open, but I don't know what the protocol is. He had said
Oh, well,
restaurants
we'll
could be
we'll
open
find
too,
that
but
out
they,
for sure.
yeah, so that has to
Yeah.
be checked out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
before we do anything, we'll see where it stands in June,
Right. Okay, thanks. Okay, next thing, CPC Public Forum. I thought it went very well. I heard from others that it went well. I never knew there was so much interest in cemeteries. And looking up
Right.
to
You
see,
know who the head of cemeteries is?
yeah, you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Parks
haven't
and
had a
Rec.
call. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of.
Yeah, and I didn't
Yeah.
realize that until I was looking at something else that same night, and
Wait a minute, what do you mean, Charlie? Cemeteries?
under Parks and Recreation for responsibilities are town-owned cemeteries.
What do they call him, the Undertaker?
Yeah, there you go.
Charlie,
Yeah.
why do they build fences around them? No one's trying to get in, no one's trying to get out.
All right, you're always a comedian.
I'm trying.
What are you in space right now?
Yeah, I'm spacewalking.
Yep, I've seen the space one before. I never saw the auditorium one. I really like that. Yeah, so one lady had written to me that she couldn't be at the public forum, but she had written to Marilee, who forwarded it to me about the Scotland Cemetery, that she wasn't happy with the gate, it was falling apart. So I said, well, her group would have to, I thought it was her group that was looking for CPC funds, and she said, oh no, she's not with a group. her husband's buried there and some other family members, and she just thinks it's a shame it's in such disrepair. So I said, well, find out who owns the cemetery. Well, she wrote back to me that the night of the public forum, that she researched it and the town owns it. So there is a group working on the cemetery on, I'm not sure the cemetery, but it's a corner of Plain Street, Plain and High. It has a name to it. And there's a group that's already working to clean that up themselves. But I think as far as the others, and somebody was talking about the Summer Street Cemetery by the mobile station. I'm gonna ask, or I guess, Charlie, you could, and what your meetings with Michael Dutton, now that Park and Rec is in charge of cemeteries. Just bring it up to him that a number of people are concerned about cemeteries, and, you know, it could be a CPA thing, but CPC. But somebody has to do an inventory about what needs to be done to Adam. And like I said, I'm not trying to give you work. You're giving me that look. I'm not trying
How
to
many
give you
things,
work,
Gina?
but
how
let
many
a town
cemeteries do we have?
employee.
It's not gonna happen, Gina, not with me.
No, that's what I said, not with you, but I don't know, let somebody walk around and see what needs to be done at these cemeteries and then put in a,
How many cemeteries are there? Gina, how many cemeteries are there?
I think there's a number of town-owned ones.
Do you know how many? I mean, the one on Summer Street, is that really at the town?
Town owns it.
Oh,
As vice
massive
chairman of
money.
the committee, Gene, you should know all this about the cemetery since we're in
I
charge.
know I should. I have to research this.
Okay,
I know the town owns that one. The woman told me that the town owns the Scotland Cemetery, but I have to check into that. I know the town owns the one on Plain and High. I'm not sure
Jennings?
about, what about the one down by the prison that a Eagle Scout cleaned up a couple years ago? It's on the road that Stiles and Hart was on.
Titicus?
Is that the Titicus Cemetery? It could be. Yeah, on Titicus Street, that would make sense. I don't know if the town owns that or if it's private. The old one on Main Street in the back, I think is owned by the Episcopal Church, but I'm not positive. I don't think it's a town one. Because the Episcopal Church, the original church was down that way, but I'm not positive on that one. But we'll look into it at some point. Okay. Charlie also gave a good talk. If anybody caught it at the CPC public forum, a question was asked about recreation. Charlie gave a great talk and filled everybody in on that. That was very good. And he gave a good talk on pickleball courts, which was good too. Okay, old business, we took care of the pickleball courts. New business, Ray Wilcox highlight on the town Facebook page.
I didn't know anything about that.
Okay, he was highlighted. They put him down doing, what was he doing? I sent it to you, Charlie.
No, I know that. I did, at the time, I didn't know.
Oh,
What happened,
okay.
I found out after you sent it to
Then
me, and then,
they also. Charlie, what?
Yeah.
They also highlighted him in that Buzz Around. I don't know if that's a real publication or just an internet thing. But they were highlighted, they were using the same information and gonna highlight him in that too.
well, in that meeting that I had with Kim Williams, she informed me that, did you see the picture? And I said, well, I didn't until you sent it to me. And it was a picture of Ray cleaning the basketball courts. And Kim was out and around and she said she decided that she would take a picture of that. So that's what she did.
Mhm,
So,
good.
but Ray wants a raise and he wants to be employee of the month.
Well, they also had the other day, I
Since you
think
only
they had a
have one,
highway
that's gonna be
department
too
guy
hard.
That,
too.
well, that was supposed to be a joke. But everybody wants to sleep.
I got it.
Yeah.
You only
Wait.
have one employee.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did
He's
too.
gotta wear it.
Hmm.
The only ones that ever got employee of the month were Beth and Matt Ray. Something's wrong with that.
Well, you know,
How
if you
about
work,
Brooke?
yep,
Uh,
okay,
she's
we'll
no
make
longer
you,
employee in
we'll
my
make you
mind.
employee of the month. I think Brooke needs to be employee of the month first.
Well, she has to work first.
Oh, Jenny.
We were
Uh,
gonna give it to
Charlie.
Tuftsies, but he wouldn't climb trees.
Yep,
We canceled it.
okay.
Oh,
The,
that's-
the next thing, the town administrative codes, I asked Brooke to put that on the agenda. That was my request, and I kind of spoke on it when we were talking about the field use and all that, what the town manager approves. If you look at, and I probably never looked at it, or if I did, it just went like right through my head. But this whole thing with the fields and who approves what, it got me thinking, and I know that we've thought about it as commissioners and we've all mentioned it at some time or another. What is our purpose under this town charter? Because everything seems to go between Charlie and the town manager. So it got me thinking on that whole thing. So I talked to Ed Avaldi, who probably knows the charter in and out, probably wrote it. And I asked him, just what is the recreation department's purpose? And he said that that's not part of the charter. The charter just says how many appointed and all that. But he suggested I look at the administrative code. I did. I opened it up and I'm like 302 pages. I don't think so. But it's very, very well indexed. So I looked at Park and Rec. And the thing that got me, like I said before, is, and Brooke sent it out to all of us, so we don't have to, obviously, we're not going to decide anything tonight. But it was everything for the parks, for the golf course, for the recreation itself. It's the Park and Rec's commission. Our commissioners advise the town manager via the superintendent. So it's like we advise, like we used to do. Only instead of Charlie just carrying everything out, he then goes to the town manager and they discuss it. But it puts the advisory back to us as commissioners, not as with our previous town manager, who I'll never forget the night when the charter was first voted in. He came to our meeting and sat there and basically said, everything goes through the town manager. You folks, however he said it, basically have no control. It's the town manager that decides everything. And I know we've all questioned over the years at different times. So what is our function? And I think we need to look at that again, that our function is to advise. Our function isn't to see something on Facebook that's happening. And I know the tent was a last minute decision, but, and that whole thing, if it was part of their contract, but we need to advise again. If something comes up, we're not like, and what I'm hearing is a lot of committees are feeling the same way, that they are, since this charter started, they are left out. Jim?
Yeah, our job before the town council, and maybe even now, I know this is being recorded, so I'll keep it clean. We were the ones that ran the fields. We were the one in charge of all the money in the fields. We were in charge of all that stuff. And if you look at, me and Tommy looked at a lot of recreation law, and I believe I brought this up before. Other towns like Duxbury, the town manager or the people running the town wanted the harbor master to stay in a building on recreation land. They fought it. He got thrown out. I mean, go to all the towns. It used to be this town. I'm not sure it still is. It shouldn't be, but anyway. Now you're saying we're advisory, which means you have no power whatsoever. You just say to him, hey, this would be a good idea, and he decides whether or not you don't. So it changed as far as what's written in your thing that I read. We have as much power according to that, whatever you want to call it, the act or whatever, as
Mhm.
no, you don't have any, if that's true. So
See,
you're
took
saying
it
it's a good thing.
as-
You can tell them anything you want. I think, let's remember this, the board that Mike was on recommended a person for the building commit, zoning, whatever. Remember the gentleman from, they voted 5-0 to hire him, and he was
Mhm.
never hired. Remember, he was thrown off the committee. So
Yeah.
advisory isn't a good word. Advisory means you tell me what you think we should do, and then I do whatever I want to do.
But at least
So-
we'd have some input and feel like we're doing something, because there's
And
times
feel
that
like
I
you mean
feel,
some input that no one has to listen to. Yeah,
well,
according to that. I'm not saying it's right, but we've had,
yeah,
the NCAA's on tonight, the basketball game, the finals, but we've had this discussion over and over again. And unless you want to fight it, I don't know how changing the form of government, when we were elected at the time, changed us from an elected official who had the power to an advisory board. So we have as much power as the golf commission, if you want to look at it that for the golf course, and we have as much power as, all right, I mean, what if you said you didn't want to have the protest up there that day? You think you have the power to do that? I
no, for
believe you
something
probably
like
did
that,
have the
that's
power. I believe you probably did have the power to do that. But I don't know how you would prove it right now, so.
right. And, but I think it's something we need to look at, because right now we're being advised. We're not advising. We're
I'd
being
rather have someone
advised
being
as the-
advised, I'd rather have someone advising me, and then we get to make the decision.
Well,
True.
let's go back one step.
Yeah,
And I take the blame for not the lack of communication, but there isn't anything that we've tried to do that has been rejected. If I'm mistaken, tell me.
no,
we haven't-
luckily, we've had good luck with them, but if he said we couldn't do it, what would you do?
No, you're right there. But
All right, that's all I'm
My-
saying, Charlie. He's been very good.
yeah, but my point is, I guess I can say, I don't know, when they looked at us, meaning Rick, everything was kind of going away, other than the fact, going pretty smooth, other than the fact that we don't get any money. However, through community presentation, we've done a lot in the last, we built the
Absolutely.
softball fields with about 300 grand from them. The lights, the major projects, yes. The day-to-day operation, no, we haven't got any money, and I have to fight for everything. And then this past year has been nothing but crap, to be quite honest with you. It's this whole year from last year, and there's a lack of communication from me, and not having an administrative help hurts. And Brooke is very helpful, but she has a full-time job, and I'm not very good in the office. But there's going to come a point in time when this department will be shook up a bit, as far as a new person coming in, or new people, or who knows what's going to happen. And in my mind, it could be separated. If I leave, there's a separation there at the golf course. It's not going to be.
I understand that.
It might come sooner than later. So my point is, I think what you talked about is a good starting point, and I think it's probably a good time this year, soon, to talk to sit down with Mr. Dutton and go over anything that you want to talk about as far as the future and, what's happened in the past with some of this stuff. And that's certainly part of it, because it should have that discussion with them, how you people will, once, if there's a break in the golf. So if I'm gone, there's not gonna be a part-time, type of situation with me up there, and that, that's not gonna happen. So the new person coming in would have to have really probably a lot more direction. And all that stuff should be, and maybe it's for the better, and maybe they'll, whatever. But
Yeah.
my point is, all the stuff you talked about tonight, that should be addressed, no question.
Yeah.
And so that you can get certain things in writing.
Mhm.
I look at the mission statement, I'm looking at it right now, and it lists a bunch of things. And I don't think anything has changed. It says the rec department in cooperation with the Recreation Commission have outlined the following. It's right on the website, coordinate rec activities with school, youth groups, all that stuff is on there. I don't think any of that's changed. And I think we're so low on the totem pole, quite honestly, as far as money that comes to our budget. They all say, oh, they want the parks, they're pushing the parks now. Well, I've already had discussions a couple of times with them. They know what kind of money it's gonna take, what kind of people it's gonna take, equipment, another vehicle. So until I see that, which I probably won't see this year, so it's gonna have to happen. And like anything else, when I'm out of there, you'll probably get a lot more.
Charlie, you
No.
make me nervous when you keep talking about when you're not there.
Well, I'm just being upfront, and I'm saying,
You're too young to retire.
no, I'm not. So anyway, I just think all the stuff you talked about, I think you should sit down in a time when, it's not a Zoom meeting, whether it's a month from
Yep.
now, 2 months. I know they've got people in town hall now. Who knows what's gonna happen when the lawyer says we can, start meeting, which I don't know why we can't, as long as we, if everyone's been vaccinated, which probably that'll happen in the next, I know I'm going tomorrow to get a shot, my first one. So I think, I
I've
don't know if
had both of
everyone else. What?
Which one?
Gillette.
Good. Moderna, awesome experience. They're really
Yeah.
good once you get there.
Yeah, so I think from what I'm hearing, if everyone has their vaccinations, you certainly can sit down in a group. Now, whether the town lawyer will allow that to happen with all these different boards, I don't know, but hopefully in another couple months, 2,
Mhm.
3 months, all this stuff should sit down. We should get him, sit down and talk to him. So, something gets accomplished. Whether it will
Mhm.
get accomplished or not, I don't know, but you still should have all this stuff out in the open.
Yeah,
I-
Charlie, don't get me wrong. I think you're doing a great job. And when I say that it's between you, like everything that happens, you and the town manager, that's the way it's been set up. So I'm not criticizing you.
Oh, I
I'm just
understand.
saying the whole system needs to be looked at.
And I'm the worst one to sit here and blow out emails. I'm not sitting in an office all day. When I come in,
Mhm.
I'm usually on the go. I can't stand doing that, and that's my fault, and that's the lack of communication, to be quite honest with you. But
No, it ain't, I don't think, if I call you, you answer the phone. That's better than an email. If I have a question, you answer it. I don't mean that. And like you say, it will be different because probably the way things run well now is because of the relationship between us, you and Dutton. But as far as on writing, I don't think the recreation is where it should be, but there's nothing you can do about it unless you want to, we've already beat this into the ground.
yeah,
Should we make a plan? Should we make a plan to try to just set a meeting up with Dutton?
yeah, I'd
Like
hate it to
in
be
a
a
couple
Zoom.
months?
Yeah,
No,
why
no, I don't
can't,
want to do Zoom.
if you're allowed 25 people indoors or 50 people indoors, why can't you have a meeting at the golf course inside and everyone sit 10 feet apart? You're
Well,
letting your kids sit 3 feet apart, so why can't we sit 10 feet apart and have
I
a meeting?
think they're concerned with the public hearing. So in other words, if there's something on an agenda for the town council and it's a tough one, you could have 100 people, 150 people show up. You know what I'm saying? And it can't. But for our board, I think if I asked town manager, hey, can we, 5 of us, 6 of us, 7 of us, count Brooke and me, and sit down, can we do it? I'm quite sure he would say yes. But if other boards aren't allowed to, you know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
Right,
why
it has to be
everything
across
has
the
been
board.
discussed at department head meetings. Yeah, the town lawyer makes that statement in past department head meetings in the last year we've had, you know, no, you cannot have a public meeting, you cannot do this, you cannot meet. So until that comes down,
Yeah.
I would hate to have one. I mean, I can go up and sit with him for a half hour, but it's not the same as you 5 sitting down with him.
Yeah.
And I think that's what has to happen, whether it happens in the fall or the summer, whatever. But I'll make a point to talk to him about it when I see him. I haven't seen him. He still
Charlie, I
hasn't
think it's a
answered.
great idea.
He hasn't
Mhm.
answered my email. I want to have a private conversation with him for 15 minutes and he's avoiding me. So,
It better not be that you're planning to retire.
Of course he
well,
is.
I
It'd
am
be dumb
planning
not to.
retire. No, I am planning to retire. It's
When
just
you
when.
talk,
He's coming back next year
I
as head of the
really
park
didn't wanna-
commission.
I really didn't want to sit in a Zoom meeting and talk. I would like to talk to each of you individually, just to let you know where I stand. But more than likely, I mean, now that you
squeezing
forced
it
me
out of
into
you.
this,
You
Probably
don't have to pick, you don't have to address it now, Charlie.
Well, wait, hang on.
I'd rather not.
I'd rather not have it addressed now. Let's
Right.
finish the
Well,
golf
put it
course,
this
the
way.
I agree,
pickleball
Joe.
courts, and
Yeah.
then we'll
I
worry
agree
about it.
too. I was just
Well,
teasing you.
Put it
for a
this way, I
second.
told the finance director, because we're working on the 22 budgets, okay? To be aware. I brought it to his attention because we are working on July to June. So.
Yep.
Probably early spring. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Next year.
That's what I'm thinking of right now.
Good. Good
Yeah.
for
That
you.
gives me, well, I'm just, it could change. I don't see why it would change. To be quite honest with you, it's minor amount of money. If I retired today and I retire a year from now, it's like $200 a month.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm never gonna get to 80%. I'd have to go another 5 years. That ain't happening. I'm semi-healthy right now, so this year sucks. I hate it. It's just everything
Yeah.
is in town is a pull. It's not fun, and I don't want to be one of those cranky ass guys that
You
hang
already
around.
are, but that doesn't affect
I know,
anything
but
else.
I don't want to get any worse.
Jesus.
I don't want to get any worse. Put it that way. So
Hey, Charlie,
Mhm.
like you say, there's not too many people that on their deathbed say, I wish I had a little more money,
yeah,
right?
Yep.
It's time.
Yep.
well,
Yeah.
that's never
Time.
going to be.
Hey,
that's
Charlie,
something- yeah.
this could
Okay.
be one of the oldest boards in the entire town.
Yeah.
We've been
Wait,
on
wait.
this
I'll tell
board
you.
a long time. Didn't
Tommy,
Dave
that's
Freeman
what
beat
they
you?
asked me when I was in front of the council. They wanted to know how come we have the most stable board in town.
And we used to be elected.
And I said, these people have been around forever because they got a passion.
We used to
Well,
get
I-
elected. People
I
liked us.
have,
People knew who we were.
as of this month, I have 41 years. How many do you have, Jim? You're
Less than
close.
that. I don't know, 39, 38, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I-
I've been
you're
here
close.
27, and all of you have been here before I started working.
Yeah, we're all
Hang on
above
for a second,
35.
Charlie. Hang on,
Yeah.
Charlie. You were on the board with us. So how long were you
No,
on the
I
board?
never was.
Oh,
I lost. Oh, thanks. You're gonna bring me. You suck. Brooke, stop recording. You had to bring that up. I run
Okay.
one office in
This
my
is
life
being
and I lost.
recorded.
you
Okay,
had-
let's
you
let's
had-
move
you-
on and then we can unrecord.
Hey,
What is it
hey,
that,
Okay, we-
Roy?
Gina, one
Okay,
last
we
thing.
talked about the administrative code. We talked about mission statements. I'll just bring up for under new business too, Marilee Hunt had said she was going to come to the meeting tonight, and she probably got tied up. But what she wanted to say was, and I'll just hit it briefly. She holds a license from Music Alley. She thinks it belongs possibly with recreation because technically it's a,
In the cemetery.
right, a recreational place. Not that the cemetery is recreational, but.
We don't
um,
own the land. You'll have
You
to
know why
deed us the
that is,
land.
Gina?
What, Charlie?
Because she wants somebody to do the work in there. It should be under community development.
Okay,
That's what I
well.
We don't own the
I'll
land.
mention that, and I'll invite her to the, or somebody can, I'll do it if you want, just invite her to the next meeting where she didn't get to this meeting. And
Yeah.
we can tell her that our thought is community and economic development, but that's what she wanted to talk to.
Because she needs somebody to put the chairs out and she wants work done and different things. That's why she's going to me.
No, yeah, hey, Charlie, didn't you build it? Didn't
Yep.
Of course,
you,
I did pave it, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
but.
Look what you did.
But I also knew that, never mind, I'm not gonna say.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, so if there's no other discussions, motion to adjourn?
Don't you have to, under the new agenda, don't you have to set a date?
Oh, that's right, our next meeting. That's right, we have this new agenda format. Okay, our next meeting is May what?
did Charlie lose the coontail?
Yeah, no.
He was my manager. You know,
Was it Joe Enos?
Yeah,
Hey, Brooke.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes, it was.
Can you just
think it was the
set the
bloodbath.
agenda and then stop recording? 'Cause then I'm gonna
May
unload.
3rd.
And
May
and
3rd.
Joe lived in Rainham. He still would.
Okay, if we have a motion to adjourn, then you guys can keep talking, as long as.
Well, you
we
have
motion
to set the
adjourn.
meeting.
We
May
did, May
3rd.
3rd.
May
you were
3rd.
talking.
May 3rd, okay.
Uh-oh. Might be here.
Okay, May 3rd, motion to adjourn,
Second.
we don't have the motion yet, Tom.
Yeah,
Motion.
you just said.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Tom
Second.
seconds. All in, roll call,
Alphabetically,
Yeah.
Mr. Riggi,
Yes.
Mr. Campbell,
Coontail comes before Campbell, doesn't it? Oh, I'll vote yes.
Miss Wasconi. Miss Wasconi?
yes. Okay,
Hello?
meeting's adjourned at 8:29 or whatever, that's what my stove clock says.
Okay.
Okay, Brooke can stop recording and you guys can still chat.
No, come on, Jimmy, stop it. Stop
Yeah.
talking about
Oh,
Hey, good news
Okay.
on the